okay, the Raffy Devers trade is done. It's over. He does not play for the Red Sox anymore. You really didn't get much in return. The only thing that you can kind of silver line here is the fact that they got $250 million back in a way. The Giants are taking all of that. So now you got money. And that's the thing that the optimistic Red Sox fans are throwing out there. Now you can go out and make some moves, right? Trade deadline and maybe next free agency. That's, I don't know that you got any better as a trade candidate after the Raffy Devers trade, but there's certainly still some flexibility there for sure. So how do the Red Sox actually do that? How do the Red Sox make a move that is actually going to make the Raffy Devers trade worth it? Well, The Athletic put out their big board of top trade candidates looking, a month and a half ahead of the trade deadline. And the Red Sox had 2 of the top 10 guys still, even after trading Raffy Devers. Amazingly, I don't think he was going to make the list. But at number 8 is Wilyer Abreu on that list. And at number 1, the best trade chip in all of baseball, Jarren Duran. We've talked about this trade before, what the packages might be. Philadelphia, San Diego, LA, Seattle was high up on that list. They got a great farm system. And there are absolutely some ones that I would trade Jarren Duran for. Duran has dipped a little bit in this 24 season, but he's still a super valuable player, mainly at his contract, right? He's not even ARB eligible yet. Like he's getting paid peanuts. And he was a top 10 guy in AL MVP voting last year, led the league in doubles and triples, and was the All-Star Game MVP. He's a terror on the base paths. He's an above-average outfielder defensively, still a good top-of-the-order kind of hitter. In fact, The Athletic says, to be clear, there's little reason for Boston to even entertain offers for Duran unless the return is substantial. His production has predictably fallen short of his 2024 breakout, but Duran remains a solidly above-average hitter with lots of speed and the ability to play center field and play it fairly well. Okay? And so we went over those trade packages last week. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend going on the YouTube channel and finding that. We broke it down in detail. I loved the Phillies, what they could give you with Andrew Painter, the number 5 prospect in all of baseball, their top prospect, the pitcher, who's now in AAA. But I think San Diego gives you the best deal. Jeremiah Estrada, a hard-throwing reliever, but possibly their best prospect and the number 2 prospect in baseball behind Roman Anthony, Leo DeVries, the shortstop, coming in as a big part of that deal as well. I love that kind of offer. Then I got thrown for a loop this morning, and doing my research, it made more sense than you think. What if the Red Sox make a trade in a package involving, of course, Jarren Duran? What if the Red Sox make a trade for Ronald Acuna Jr.? Stick with me here because I know it sounds nuts. Okay, I know people are firing up in the comments right now. But Jarren Duran is a legit trade piece, right? A top 10 MVP voting guy. Obviously, Ronald Acuna Jr. has finished top 1 in the MVP voting his last real healthy season back in 2023. He's one of the top players in all of baseball. But with all of this kind of flexibility now, the Red Sox have the opportunity to go out and get one of the biggest fish in baseball. Okay? You've got guys like Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, Brayan Bello, Tanner Houck. All 4 of those guys. I'll even throw Ceddanne Rafaela in there, a third outfielder in there. All 5 of those guys are on cheap contracts at the beginning of their careers and are major league contributors right now. Duran's an all-star. Tanner Houck was an all-star last year. Brayan Bello looks to be a top-of-the-rotation guy. Wilyer Abreu won a gold glove last year. Ceddanne Rafaela is going to win a couple of gold gloves in his major league career. All of them, team control, low cost. Okay? So you can throw any of those 2 guys in there, plus prospects 2 through 4 in your system. Franklin Arias, Luis Perales, Josh Nixon Garcia, the password, and even someone like Christian Campbell, who, again, rookie, bright future, one of the top prospects in baseball coming into this year, team-controlled, cheap contract, 8 years. It's the same thing for Rafaela. It's the same thing for Bello. And you've still got Abreu, Duran, and Tanner Houck all on their rookie deals. So I'll give you 2 of those major league guys and 3 prospects in one of the top farm systems in baseball to the Atlanta Braves for Ronald Acuna Jr. Why would the Red Sox do that? That's pretty obvious. Why would the Braves do that? Well, there are a couple of reasons why. First off, they've got the 26th ranked prospect pool, farm system in all of baseball. Okay, this is not the Braves of 5 years ago. They are desperate to replenish that farm system. And you're going to get a good haul because Ronald Acuna Jr. is possibly on the best contract in all of baseball. I want to shout out and give a clip to one of my favorite podcasters, and that's called Podcast Doesn't Exist. Does a ton of baseball content. And I watched this a few weeks ago, and it reminded me of it. Ronald Acuna Jr. has plenty of reasons to be angry with the Atlanta Braves. That's more or less the title of the video. And when talking about the contract and how cheap it is and how much longer it goes, here's what Podcast Doesn't Exist, how they break it down, and why this would tickle the Red Sox nipples 5 ways to Sunday.
When he's healthy, his contract right now is only the 65th most valuable in the sport. He's only the 6th highest paid player on his own team. Austin Riley signed for 2 times what Acuna signed for. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got 5 times more money. Tatis, Trey Turner, and Devers got contracts 3 times more valuable than Acuna's. Arenado, Bogarts, Carlos Correa all got at least 2 times more than Acuna. Even his ex-teammate, Charlie Morton, who is 41 years old, he has an ERA over 10 so far this season, is getting paid more than Ronald Acuna Jr.
He's signed through 2029 at just over $10 million a year. Like, that is way better than the Raffy Devers contract. And of course, that is going to take an elite haul to bring him in. But here are the Braves, man, just kind of spinning wheels, puttering out yet again. No real hard looks towards their future with guys who are oft injured, guys who haven't lived up to the contracts, guys like Riley, guys like Spencer Strider, and not knowing what their availabilities are going to be for the next couple of years. Here is a chance for both teams to retool on the fly, not rebuild, not strip it all down, even though that's what it's going to feel like if the Braves give up an MVP, but really kind of retool. You know, for the Braves, you replenish your farm system. For the Red Sox, you get a top-of-the-line major league player at no extra cost from what you had for Raffy Devers. In fact, it's about half the cost of Raffy Devers when you take it all into account. That is a huge deal for both teams. Now, of course, the Red Sox will feel like the winners of that trade, but if you're the Braves front office, you are still replenishing your farm system, and you're getting a couple of legit roster players at very, very, very cheap. Like, all those, if I gave you 5 or 6 guys in this trade, they're not going to add up to Ronald Acuna Jr.'s AAV. They're not going to. And there's also this drama. There's also this beef. It's been going on with the Braves and Ronald Acuna for years. Ronald Acuna is a little pissed that he signed that deal, but hey, you signed that deal. He fired his agent over it, okay? That they went with the Braves model and he wasn't going to hit the open market at the right time. Instead, he's getting paid this $130 million deal. He's locked in for a couple of more years, and it's one of the best value contracts in all of baseball, if not number one. This is a guy who had 40 homers and 70 stolen bases 2 years ago. Like, we were talking about when he's healthy, because he's had a couple injuries. When he's healthy, he is one of the 5 or 6 best position players in all of baseball. And I don't think that's even close to a stretch. But there's always been something, kind of like with Raffy Devers this year with the Red Sox. There's always been something between the Braves and Acuna. Remember the whole eye black thing? They didn't like the way he wore his eye black, and Freddie Freeman went up and wiped it off his face. The Braves were pissed off at how he wore his hat. He would wear his hat in interviews, kind of like this, and they were like, "Don't do that." And they pissed him off. They scolded him for doing that. There's just always been something. There's always been a rift between Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves. And I get the irony here that the Red Sox just traded their best player for a bit of a rift. But I think those things that we hear from Ronald Acuna Jr. and the things that we heard about Rafael Devers, one of them is being a bad teammate. One of them just isn't kind of quite expressing himself the way you want to. Right? There hasn't been a lot of questions about Ronald Acuna Jr., the teammate. Okay? And again, with how the Red Sox reacted with guys like Jarren Duran, after this trade of Raffy Devers, they were kind of like, yep, we got 25 guys here. He's not one of them. We're moving on. Nobody was shedding tears, it sounds like, in that Red Sox locker room that Devers was traded. And certainly not Christian Campbell, who offered to play first base, and apparently Devers got pissed at him for it. So if you're the Red Sox, I'd throw in Christian Campbell in that deal. And I really like Christian Campbell. I know he's struggling right now. I think he's going to be a real good major leaguer for a long time. But one of those three guys, one of that, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, one of those two guys that's not Roman Anthony, I would seriously consider throwing them in a deal and centering a package around them for Ronald Acuna Jr. This is the kind of move the Red Sox need to make in order to justify this trade that they just made. Okay? It's not going to be, for another middle of the rotation kind of arm. It's not going to be for a top-end relief pitcher. It's not going to be for a utility guy. It's not going to be for a fringe all-star. The thing that justifies saving that $250 million because of the Raffy Devers trade is to go out and get a superstar. And here's an opportunity, man. The Braves, most people didn't think the Red Sox were sick of Raffy Devers. Most people don't think the Braves are sick of Ronald Acuna Jr. But there's constantly been a rift. It's always been something. And his health is another thing. He missed all last season, basically. So there is cause for the Braves, where their farm system is at, where they're at with Ronald Acuna Jr., what the next 3 or 4 years of the Atlanta Braves looks like. And there's also cause for the Red Sox. After making this trade, you've got to do something big to get a superstar in here before the start of next season, or else people are losing their jobs, or else Red Sox fans aren't showing up and giving you the best game day revenue in all of baseball. And if they do, they're going to be wearing paper bags over their heads saying, sell the team. They're sick of this shit. They're sick of being told, yeah, we have to trade your favorite player, the best player on our team, our homegrown guy. We can't afford them. We're the Red Sox. All of a sudden, we can't afford them. We could for decades, and now we can't. Oh, yeah, and we're going to charge the most expensive tickets in all of baseball. They're sick of this shit. Something like Ronald Acuna Jr., that would change a lot of minds about this Red Sox franchise going forward. And it would save some jobs in that front office. It might even save the AI bots job who's doing all the interviewing. You might be able to keep Hal on board, the fucking computer who's interviewing your baseball ops people. So I know it sounds crazy. I know it does. And the likelihood of it happening is not great. But don't tell me it doesn't make a little bit of sense here. Ronald Acuna Jr. for a massive package given by the Red Sox. And hey, if you need to dump some salary to Atlanta, we'll take Chris Sale back in that deal. How about that? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Does that actually make sense? Would you do that from a Red Sox standpoint, and who would you give up for Ronald Acuna Jr.? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you think the Red Sox need to make a big move with this extra money. And of course, find us on YouTube, high noon Eastern time, every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Check out the other videos on the channel talking about this trade, talking about the Red Sox, and everything else going on in Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week.